everyone, hope you all are well. I'm kicking things off today as usual by priming the eye area with my trusty Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. I'm using the applicator just to add a few swipes of this across the eye area, and then I'm using the Sigma 3D HD Precision brush, and I'm using this to buff the product into the skin anywhere that I'll be adding eyeshadow. And a brush can be good for this step because it'll soak up any excess product as well as blending just what's there into the skin. You don't want to over apply the primer because instead of aiding you in your eyeshadow application, it'll actually hinder you. So you want the primer to help you along, making the shadows apply and blend nice and smoothly and last all day long as well. I wanted to create a cherry or berry toned look, which is great for this time of year, and what better palette to reach for is there than the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. There's so many gorgeous rich tones which are ideal for autumn/winter, and the first shade I'm taking is called Hotspot. This is an almost warm creamy beige shade. It's got a matte finish to it, and I'm using this on a Blank Canvas Cosmetics E24 flat brush just to add a subtle brightness underneath the brow area. The next shade I'm taking then is called Feels. This is going to act as my transition shade. I've picked up some of this on a Blank Canvas Cosmetics E26 blending brush. It's kind of warm, light pink shade and it's got a matte finish to it. And I've started in the crease on that outer third, and I've just been sweeping over and back now in the crease area, laying down a nice light wash of this shade. And as I've got less product then on my brush, I'm using swirling, circular motions, raising my brush up a bit higher in the crease to fade out the shade to nothing the closer to the brow bone that we get. I'm happy enough now with the blend of this product. It's faded out nicely, but I would like the pigmentation just to be a little bit more intense. So I'm going in now with a second layer of that shadow and I'm building up the colour. And with this shade too, I'm winging it out towards the tail of the brow just to help elongate the eyes. You can also round the edges if you prefer, whichever you like. I just think this shade, or this style even, complements my eye shape nicely. So now that I've got the colour on there, I'm switching to a small dense flat brush. This is a double-ended one that came with the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette, and I'm sweeping some of that shade Feels down along the lower lash line. As it's a dense brush, it's going to pack on more colour than a fluffy one, but I don't want it too intense, so I'm using the fluffy end of the brush now, flipping it around, running over the edges of that pink shade then to soften them. Next then, I'm taking the shade Bing, which is a warm, medium-toned berry shade. It's got a matte finish to it as well. This is an all-matte look that I'm going for today, but I've picked up this on a Blank Canvas Cosmetics E26 brush, the same one that I've been using. And because I work my colours from light to dark, it's perfectly fine to just use that one brush for the entire look if you wanted. And I actually think having that small bit of excess product of the previous shade left on my brush helps the blending process. It helps to merge the shade that you've applied in with the next shade that you are applying. It just helps to fuse them together that bit easier. So I've started anyway by tapping this down on the outer third of the lid. I've made my way across the entire lid, just giving myself a nice wash of colour, and then I'm fading the shade upwards into the crease. And with that shade Feels there, you don't really need to fade it up that high. The berry shade when blended fades out to a nice light pink anyway, so you save yourself some work. So I'm going back in now with that short, dense smudger end of the Naked Honey double-ended brush, and I'm wriggling this right in the lash line and the lower lash line, working my way across from outer to inner corner. And then once again, I'm going to flip that brush around and use the fluffy side just to blend out that shade. Next, I'm going in with the shade Devilish. This is more of a deep, kind of reddish plum shade. Again, same blending brush. I'm largely focusing this on the outer third of the eye, tapping it down on the outer portion of the lid, and then I'm fading across into the crease. And this is just going to deepen up the look slightly. I wanted this to be a cherry/cranberry, just a deep pinky red smoky eye, and all the shades that I've used are within the same colour family, but the tone slightly varies, and adding a variety of tones just stops the look from coming across as quite flat. So I'm tapping the Devilish shade down now along the lower lash line, keeping this to the outer third of the eye. The darker the shade, the further to the edge of the eye that I generally keep it. Then I'm taking the shade Privacy, which is a warm dark brown. It's going to add a final bit of depth and dimension to the look for us. And I'm using a smaller brush. This one is tapered to a point, meaning that I can be more precise with my application. So firstly, I'm swirling this from lash line around into the crease in a C shape. And when I have the majority of the product off of my brush, I'm placing it down on the edge of the crease. And then I'm going to flick my brush outwards in the direction of the tail of the brow, just to fade it out. I'm then using an angled brush from Vanity Planet, and I'm pressing that same Privacy shade all the way along the upper lash line. Again, I'd usually use a black for this step, but I did want something a little bit softer, and I think this shadow then works perfect for that. For the waterline then, I'm taking the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Alkaline. This is a nice deep berry red. If you feel that the red is too much inside the eyes, you can definitely opt for a brown, black, or even a nude. So I'm pressing some more of that Privacy shade now just into the lash bed down along the lower lash line, and I'm taking this about halfway across the eye. I've added then some of the Pompadour lashes from Kiss, and then I'm going into my Naked 2 palette and I'm taking the shade Booty Call on a Wet n Wild pencil brush, and I'm just dabbing this around the tear duct of the eye just to add a nice little bit of brightness to the eye area. It's a shimmery shade, but it's not overpowering. As I said, I want to keep the look mainly matte, but I did want to add a pop around the tear duct and just under the arch of the brow. Then I'm using the L'Oreal Bambi False Lash Mascara to blend my own lashes in with the false ones and to also coat the bottom lashes. And then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful and easy to follow. If you did, please do let me know, and I'll catch you all really soon.